Hello, amazing people. Welcome to Hip ABduction Level 1 innate flows. First of all, thank you so much for watching, guys. Let the good times roll and get to it today. So, Hip ABduction is where I bring my feet away from my midline, increasing the angle between my hip joints. Hip ABduction is my feet come towards my midline, right? And I close the angle of my hip, of my two hip sockets. So that's the difference between abduction and adduction. So I'm going to be saying abduction, so the pronunciation is easier to distinguish. So the strength portion of our hip abduction is the COSSACK squat. And then the active static flexibility portion is the middle split. So we're going to be doing that level 1 stuff today. So let's go ahead and we're going to start with strength portion of the COSSACK squat, and we're going to start in goddess. So go ahead and come to where you're comfortable as if you were going to do a wide-legged forward fold, okay? So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to externally rotate my feet here. Okay, so the more I externally rotate my feet, the more depth it allows me to drop my hips. So in the goddess pose, and don't worry, I'll show you 2 angles so you can see everything that's going on. So as I press through my heels, I engage my quads to externally rotate my knees, right? So as I bend my knees, my toes, knees, and hips are all in the general same direction, right? They're all externally rotating and coming into that abduction. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold a 15 to 20 second goddess pose with our hips in line with our knees, right? So if I'm coming in my goddess, my feet externally rotated, driving my heels away from my mat, quads are activated to externally rotate the knees, and then what's tricky about goddess is I'm in a posterior pelvic tilt. So actually this first time I want to show you guys this way just so you can see. So as I come down into my goddess, I'm not in the anterior tilt, I'm not neutral, but I'm engaging my tailbone forward, right? My posterior pelvic tilt to stack my shoulders above my hips. And that's what's going to give you that strength in goddess, is locking that posterior pelvic tilt to lock the spine while the hips are in abduction. So 15 to 20 second hold. Go ahead and get in your stance, that wide-legged forward fold, externally rotate the feet, drive the heels against the mat as you drop the hips, engage the quads to externally rotate the knees. If you fly back, that means you're doing a good job. Where was I? Quads. Hips drop parallel with the knees, and posterior pelvic tilt, right? So I'm engaging my glutes forward, retracting my shoulders, core is tight. We're going to drop. From here, we're going to go 15, 14, 13, 12, scan your chain, heels, quads, knees, hips, core, shoulders, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, maybe a little bit lower, keep those quads active, drive through the heels, 3, 2, 1, exhale, press back up. Okay, those are kind of tough, but trust me, it really builds the strength. If you do Kung Fu or some kind of Chinese martial art, I believe that is horse stance. So if you hear that, just know it's interchangeable with goddess pose. All right, so we're going to do a second round, guys. I'm going to be facing you this time, just so you can see more of my feet and knees, where the lateral view I showed you more of my hips. So find your Ujjayi. We're going to take 1 to 2 here. Relax your jaw, drop your tongue. Breathe in through the nose, expand the diaphragm. Exhale through the nose, let the diaphragm and muscles relax. Fill the heart with oxygen. Exhale, fill the body with oxygen. Okay, here we go. Wide-legged forward fold stance. Externally rotate the knees, make sure the heels are in the same line, drive through the heels, bend the hips, engage the quads for that external rotation of the legs, posterior pelvic tilt, curl the pelvis forward, core is compressed, shoulders are retracted and depressed. Let's go. 15, 14, 13, 12, find depth, go through your chain. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, find your breath, nice and steady, 3, 2, 1, exhale, press. Awesome job, guys. Go ahead and come out of that, shake the legs out. So, a goddess pose is a real good introductory to middle split work in our COSSACK squats. So, we're going to do half COSSACK squats today, where in a full COSSACK squat, my glute would come all the way down to my heel, but we're just going to go to where this left heel stays grounded. So once again, find that same position of the goddess pose, right? About a wide-legged forward fold with driving my heels down, externally rotate the feet and the knees, engage the quads. So let's go ahead and start with the lateral view once again. Same thing, so stay where you're at. So that way you can see my hips as I come down into my COSSACK squat. So let me show you two things here. So as I come into my COSSACK squat, I can bring my chest forward, right? And that's gonna force my hips, not force, but my hips are more than likely gonna come into an anterior pelvic tilt, right? So as I press my hips back, my chest comes forward, but I'm using that as compensation for strength, right? I'm counterbalancing my body to find depth. So to make this strength, what I want you to do is lock your posterior pelvic tilt. Keep the shoulders stacked above the hips as much as you can as you come into that hip abduction, okay? So find your goddess pose, heels, quads, posterior pelvic tilt, core, shoulders are actively retracted and depressed. So from here, go ahead and you can keep the shoulders and head square. You're gonna press over to the right. So it's really important here, guys. I keep my right quad activated to externally rotate the leg. As my knee comes over my toes, my left quad is also activated for external rotation of the left leg. Glutes are tight the whole time. Stack the shoulders above the hips as much as possible. We're gonna go down, exhale, press. Let's go for 6. Inhale down, exhale, press. You can bring the arms forward for counterbalance. 5, 4, 3, 2, watch my hips and my shoulders, 1, and we're done. So let's go ahead and we're gonna do the other side. So I'm gonna stay here, you guys stay where you're at, so you can see this leg come into external rotation as I come to my left side. So go ahead, find the goddess stance, drive the heels away, engage the quads, posterior pelvic tilt, tighten the core, actively retract and depress the shoulders. Inhale, bend the left knee, keep the shoulders and hips square, externally rotate both legs. Exhale, press. We're gonna go for 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Alright guys, we're gonna do a second round each leg. I'm gonna show you a variation with the arms. And yeah, and then you get a different view of how we're doing it. So this time I'll face you. You can see the feet and legs better. Go ahead and get in your goddess. Okay, heels, quads, knees, posterior pelvic tilt, core, shoulders. So the first round, I had my arms forward. The more you bring your arms to the side and behind you, the trickier it becomes because you're not using your arms for counterbalance. So if you want to increase the difficulty of your COSSACK squat, bring your arms to the side. That's what I'm going to show you here. Okay, so you're here. Inhale, bend the right knee and keep the right quad engaged to externally rotate. The knee out, posterior pelvic tilts locked, shoulders are retracted to press. Exhale, press for 5, 4, 3, 2, Last one, guys. Stay strong. Engage the glutes. Exhale, press. Find your ujjayi. Relax the jaw. Shut off the tongue. Deep breath into the diaphragm. Exhale. Feel the body relax. Become grounded. Find your center. One more here. Make it audible. Turbulence through the glottis. Exhale. Center. Let's go. Inhale. Arms to the side or forward if you're comfortable. Pick your variation, guys. Whatever you can control. Inhale, bend. Externally rotate. Left quad's active. Right quad active. Posterior pelvic tilt. Exhale, press. For 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, guys. 1. Drop the arms. Waddle back to center. Shake the legs out. Beautiful job, guys. You'll notice that'll build a lot of strength in the groin area and the inner hips, and it feels really good once you start to get comfortable with that. So that's all we have for the strength of level 1. Now we're going to dive into the static active stretching, in which we're going to cover butterfly, frog, and then middle splits, level 1 progression. So let's start with our butterfly. You're going to need a wall for this. So go ahead and grab 2 blocks and find me against the wall. Forgot to mention this again, but you need 2 gliders and 2 blocks for today's class. And throughout the Hip ABduction series, the gliders are going to be really important. So on your wall, have your blocks in arm's reach length. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring your lower back, your lumbar and sacrum all the way to the wall, right? So I want that wall supporting my entire spine. And from here, I'm going to bring my heels in contact as close. I gotta fix my pants here a little bit. You guys like these ocean blue pants? You're gifted. Anyway, so you're going to bring the heels together as close to the groin as possible. And so there's kind of a breathing technique that I find really beneficial in butterfly. So you're going to take your block and you're going to stack. So if your butterfly is way up here, that's totally okay. You're going to bring the blocks underneath to support you. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the palm and you're going to grab on the outer edge of the foot where I like to have my thumbs come on the inside here, okay? So I can pull my heels closer to my groin and I got a good grip on my feet. So once you have that lock, go ahead and press your heels together. And you'll notice when you press your heels together, your feet will stay where they are. And so from here, this is where the breath comes in. So as I inhale, I'm going to press my knees up towards the ceiling on my inhalation, but I'm going to resist with my hands. So I'm actively using my adductors to bring my knees towards the ceiling, but my hands are going to resist it. Okay, then as I exhale, I engage my glutes to externally rotate my legs. So notice when I engage my glutes, the legs naturally externally rotate. So that builds that glute strength and flexibility. So your hands can be here, but as we exhale, I'm driving my knees towards the floor through my glute activation, okay? The hands can help a little bit, but make sure that primary opening is from the glutes. So let's go ahead and we'll start, oops, sorry about that, on high blocks. Okay, hands on feet, press through the heels, right? Press the heels against each other. Hands on knees, inhale, press the knees up towards the ceiling, resist with the hands. Exhale, squeeze the glutes, pressing the knees towards the block. Let's go for 3 rounds. Inhale, knees towards ceiling, resist with the hands. Exhale, glutes are engaged, press the knees towards the floor. Last one. Inhale, knees towards the ceiling, resist with the hands. This should be really active right here on that inhale. Knees up, exhale, engage the glutes, press the knees towards the floor. Okay, let's open up a little bit more. If you want to practice high blocks, stay there. If you're ready to move on, let's move to medium. Reset the feet, press the heels against each other. Inhale, knees towards the ceiling, resist with the hands. Exhale, engage the glutes, press down towards the blocks. Inhale up. So when you exhale, find new depth. As you inhale, don't lose that new ground. Use your hands to be active in that new depth you just found. knees up towards the ceiling. Exhale, press through the heels together, engage the glutes, knees come down. Last one, inhale up. Exhale, squeeze, press towards the floor. Alrighty, if that's comfortable for you, stay there. You ready to move down? Go ahead and move down. Fix the feet, press the heels towards each other. Inhale, knees come up as I resist. Exhale, press through the heels, engage the glutes, knees are driving towards my blocks. I found new depth, so I'm gonna hold my hands here. Inhale, knees come up towards the ceiling. Exhale, squeeze them down through the glutes. Last one here, guys. New depth. Inhale, press high, resist with the hands. Exhale, heels, quads, glutes, pressing the knees out. Awesome. So now come to neutral. Move the blocks to the side. Your hands are going to cup underneath your knees. And you're going to slowly bring your knees back to your midline. Okay? Go ahead and come on the heels and then shake out. Good. And then eventually, guys, work on just having no blocks in with the wall. You'll be able to completely open in your butterfly. So, setting the blocks to the side, we're going to come into a frog pose variation. So, coming on to your mat in a tabletop position, I'm going to splay my knees out towards the edge of the mat, and I'm going to bring my big toes together. Okay? So, when it comes to frog pose, as I come back, I'm sinking my hips towards my heels, but I'm in an active anterior pelvic tilt, right? So if I'm neutral, this is my anterior tilt, okay? If I were to come down a little bit more, this is neutral, this is an anterior tilt. You can even lift the chin to lengthen through the spine. Okay, so I'm gonna press through my hands, okay, as I sink the hips and bring it anterior tilt, bringing the bottom of the thighs towards the heels. So when my feet are together, it's less pressure on the knees to find depth within our hips. As the feet come wider apart, the increased difficulty it becomes to find depth in our hips in a beneficial way, of course. So big toes together, knees splayed open. Inhale, anterior tilt. Exhale, press. I'm having trouble finding my big toes. There it is. Exhale, press through the hands, driving the lower thighs towards the heels. Active anterior pelvic tilt, okay? You can relax here a little bit, because we're using the anterior tilt to find depth. So you can relax in your anterior tilt here, okay? Inhale, squeeze your anterior tilt. Exhale, press through the glutes, and then relax the muscles, okay? Just kind of chill here. Keep the anterior pelvic tilt, but just feel the lengthening of the muscles. Okay, take one breath here. Now we're going to inhale, active anterior tilt. You can press the top of the feet away from the mat. Exhale, press through the palms. You can lower the chest to get deeper. And now relaxing your new depth, okay? So remember, anterior tilt, I'm driving the back of my hips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, press through the hands, anterior tilt active. So whatever depth you have, guys, if you find a sweet spot, just hold it there and breathe with it. Relax the muscles and breathe into the position. I usually don't do passive flexibility, but in this type of work, it really helps to get the body used to the new depth, and then you can become active in it to feel the security, okay? So relax the muscles, press through the palms, lock your anterior tilt as the lower thighs sink. We're gonna hold for 2 more breaths here. Okay, but honestly, you can pause the video and hold this as long as you want if you're really getting nice sensation, because it's a really beneficial pose here. Find your Ujjayi, last breath here. Okay, you can lock it, anterior tilt, exhale, press all the way through. Okay, tuck the chin, press the top of the feet, bring the pelvis back to neutral as we come into a tabletop position, okay? So that is our level 1 frog pose. Now we're gonna work on the active middle splits, guys. So in the frog pose is a great pose to work on the anterior tilt to find depth in the middle splits. But now we're going to use a posterior pelvic tilt in our middle splits to build strength in that position, because we can use the anterior tilt and drop it in the middle splits, but then we have no strength or mobility in that position. So that's when you activate your posterior pelvic tilt to lock in, to build strength in that position. So what we're going to do, we'll do it twice. You can just do it once, but I want to show you two different angles, just like we did with goddess, big COSSACK squats. So you're going to come into your goddess position, okay? And now we're going to kind of combine a few things here. So driving through my heels, quads are active, I'm going to find an anterior pelvic tilt, okay? So like we did with the others, I'm going to show you this way first. So anterior pelvic tilt, okay? And then in my anterior pelvic tilt, I'm going to drive my heels in abduction, right, away from each other. And now from here, I'm going to engage my glutes. I'm going to find a posterior pelvic tilt. But now I'm driving the heels down in adducting, so I'm bringing them together, okay? And this is how you build strength in the middle split, and all types of the COSSACK squats and goddess is in this position. So posterior pelvic tilt, quads are active, heels are driving down and together. So now I'm going to come back into my anterior pelvic tilt, press the heels into abduction. I'm going to slide a bit more. If you want to use blocks here, go ahead, but we don't have to go too deep, guys. I just want you to feel that switch between the anterior and posterior. So I'm pressing my heels away in my anterior. Now I'm pressing the heels down together. Okay, engage the quads, posterior pelvic tilt. So use the strength of the glutes to hold this position. We're going to hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, shoulders are retracted to press, core is tight, 1, exhale, come down, waddle together. So now I'll show you in the front with the blocks. Alright, go ahead, find your goddess. Okay, anterior pelvic tilt, drive the hips down and out. Okay, abduction. Now press the heels down and towards your midline, engage the quads, posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, let's find more depth. Come down on your blocks. If you need anterior pelvic tilt, walk the heels out, down in abduction. We'll just go to the length of the mat here. Notice how my feet externally rotate, right? The ankles, knees, and hips are all in external rotation. So I'm here, okay, anterior pelvic tilt, heels are pressing down and out. Now press the heels down in adduction towards the midline, engage the quads, use the blocks here to slowly get out, posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, so I'm engaging my glutes forward to lock this position, pressing my heels down in, quads, glutes, core, shoulders retracted to press. I'm going to hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anterior tilt. Come on your blocks. Waddle the feet together. Now we come back up to standing mountain, posterior pelvic tilt. Cool, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, share it to others if you feel like you're liking it and learning it. Once again, namaste. Have a beautiful day.